Tonight we take a look back at one of the legendary teams in North Dakota sports, the 1994 St. Mary's football team, a season that ended in a championship, but the road to Fargo was anything but easy. This is the story of the Road Warriors. From 1994 to 2019, the story of the St. Mary's Saints of the early 90s was one of dominance, a team that won a whole lot more than they lost.
There was a winning tradition there. The work ethic was high. You know, there were certain sayings every day where you show up, do your job, do it to the best of your ability, and everybody had those expectations, and everybody had those expectations of each other.
Lost quite a few to seniors. That year before we were dominated with a senior line minus, I think, one offensive tackle. Mike Kilzer was the only junior. Otherwise, it was all seniors.
The expectations were high for this team, but an early stumble to Mandan created a cause for concern.
I have 4 older brothers. None of them lost to Mandan, okay? And no disrespect to Mandan, but it's just, that's how it was.
Yeah, it was humbling. And it got us to the point where, okay, maybe we aren't as good as we thought we were.
That week of practice, the Saints received their biggest wake-up call, the introduction of the fourth quarter drill.
We thought we had to get tougher on them as far as effort, as far as discipline, and as far as conditioning. And I think effort and discipline can be encouraged or worked on through conditioning.
The drill stood on 4 pillars of success: discipline, effort, enthusiasm, and courage.
Everybody has to do it exactly right. And we use a snap count, we use motion of a football, whatever it is, and everybody has to do it right or we start it over, and it doesn't matter where you're at. If it's the fourth quarter, the first quarter, or sometimes we go to overtime.
The first day the Saints were introduced to the fourth quarter drill, it would be considered one of the toughest practices of the season.
And somebody jumps, you start over at the first quarter. Start all the way over from the beginning. And I don't remember how many times we had to start over that first day, but it was quite a few.
But that's where you come together as a team, when you have adversity, okay? Traumatic event like that, like having to run until you puke, okay? That's when you find out who you really are.
At 4-2 and 3-2 in the conference, St. Mary's was in danger of missing the postseason after being huge favorites going in. Players say that the fourth quarter drill was a real turning point in the season, creating leadership among the team.
Because nobody wanted to be that guy that stuck out and wasn't working and wasn't disciplined.
That carried us through the season. Even though we did lose another game, you know, we lost to Dickinson at the end.
St. Mary's played a tough game against Dickinson at the old Hughes Field. Pouring rain, considered a mud bowl, losing by a score of 7-0.
We played hard. It wasn't a matter of effort, and it wasn't a matter of being physical. You know, so we lost 7-0 to a Dickinson team, but we did know that we were still in the playoffs.
Finishing the regular season at 5-3 with a 4-3 conference record, St. Mary's finished at the 5 seed, qualifying for the play-in game.
Coming from the long history of successful St. Mary's football, just going through the losses that we had, you know, losing to Minot, you know, losing to Mandan, losing to Dickinson, who was our other loss. I think that was it. We had those 3 losses. So it was just like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And yeah, we didn't know what was going to happen.